I was just checking the Red Wings game just because that's like the only thing I believe I'm paying attention to as the season comes to a close. I just do not want them to make it for obvious reasons. And I checked the score about a half hour ago, and it was 0-0 after one. And I just checked it as I was about to hit record, and it's 4-0 Hurricanes at the end of the second. So going
That
great
yeah,
on that end.
that'll be my only silver lining to how the rest of the season is gonna go because God, just absolute train wreck. It'll just be fun to see the Red Wings miss after everyone riding the hype train and their fans talking a big game saying that their development has surpassed us and the Senators and looks like we're all gonna miss again. So you know what? Let the Capitals in. Do if Ovi scores goals in the playoffs, does it count towards the record? Or is that regular
I don't
season
know. They're
goals
so
only?
weird about that stuff. I have no
Yeah,
clue.
because I genuinely don't know either, so I'm just gonna have to look it up after we're done recording, or if one of you guys goes off on a tirade, maybe I could just sneak my phone in and just, search it up real quick.
I have a feeling there's going to be a few.
Mm.
Honestly, I do not care. None of us are good teams. The Red Wings are not good. Capitals are not good. We're not good. Flyers aren't good. None of us are good teams, so I really don't care.
And everyone's so bad. The
It's the
East is usually
Spider-Man.
loaded.
It's the Spider-Man pointing meme, but just like there's like seven of them all pointing at each other. No, you suck. No, you're worse. No, you're worse. You're the worst.
And
On and
I
on
hate
it
to sound like
goes.
I hate to sound like a huge homer here, but it's like the Sabres, with their young core, I want to say us and the Senators are supposed to be set up to be the better teams in the East, at least making the jump. I mean, just like what the Devils did last year, obviously they regressed, but it's so weird, man. It's just like I'm just at a loss for words.
JP and I went to the game last night,
God bless you. Good
and
Lord. I
as
did
we
you
were
get
walking in,
JP, did you get some tendies at least? Did you at least get some tendies?
No, I got grilled cheese
And that
actually.
that's the this is the problem, all right? This is the problem.
I had chicken fingers for lunch, so I couldn't have it twice in a row.
Gotta double down.
what was
We
it?
gotta
Gotta
go
double
JP
dip.
tomorrow.
JP goes to what was it? Moe's the one time, and he ordered mac and cheese.
No,
They
it
have
was
mac and cheese at Moe's.
Something.
no,
What was it? Where did
no.
you go?
It was Duff's.
You
Back
went
in
to
my junior
Duff's
year
and
of
ordered mac and that's even
Oh,
worse.
yeah, I
it
remember.
was
I was
junior
with
year
you.
of high school. That
Just
was like
because you were young, that doesn't make it better.
6 years ago. I'm a
This was
different
a
man.
long time ago.
Christian
I
knows I'm a different man.
I do remember that. I do also remember that night saying I should eat a suicidal wing, and then you guys talked me out of it. Thank you for that, because that would have been a terrible night. But
I I do not recall that.
I he does not recall. All right, Jonah, what did you see when you were walking in?
As we were walking into the arena, I think we were just walking to our seats, and I just looked over at him, and I don't know. I think we saw a Senators jersey, and we are just like, I was just like, how did this happen? This should or no, this was JP that actually said it. He said, "How did this happen? How did this game? This should have been a heated wild card playoff race game late in the season, and instead it's just the mid bowl or the below mid bowl.
Throwaway game. Throwaway game. Like
Yep.
you never thought it would. And you know what? Also, I bought tickets to the Capitals game on Tuesday for my dad's birthday because I thought, hey, coming off the West, like I think I got these. When did I get these? I got these Monday or last weekend sometime. So I think it was before the last game, or no, it was after Calgary. 2-2. And I'm like, hey, we pick up one against the Senators. We pick up a back-to-back. Maybe we split. Maybe we go 1-0-1. That's a big game going into Tuesday night. It already seems completely meaningless.
Hey,
And now I got to go to
they're not
another
out.
game.
They are not out.
There is a magic number now, though. It's like
If
at 10.
if they win nine straight, they will match. They will match last season's point total. There's a fun fact for you. They can do
The
it.
I love the optimism, but
No, there is none. I'm dead
there's
inside.
none. It's
Sorry
we're done.
for everybody listening. Sorry that It's been a little bit since the last episode. I mean, geez, when was the last
Or
episode?
it was
What,
it was your
before the West
episode.
trip? Oh my God, yeah, you guys. So it's been like, well, JP, it's obviously been an extended hiatus, and even Christian, you've been off for
It's
like
been
2 weeks.
no, it's been like 3, it feels like.
Oh man, that's just the way the season's going. It's completely. It's hard. It's hard to even think about what to talk about. I prepare just a little note sheet. I send it to you guys every time before we hit record, just what we're going to cover. I didn't write anything down today. I have no clue where this is going to go because what is there to talk about that hasn't already been talked about?
Yeah, I feel like we're just spinning our tires. I don't want to go through another episode of this just talking about like the offensive regression or the team's power play or player X or this person just not living up to expectations. Like we've covered all of this and we're at the last 10 games of the season. Let's take this episode in a different direction. We don't even need to discuss we could discuss the road trip if someone has a point to make about it, but I'm down to just go off the wall. I don't care what we talk about today. Because I got nothing. I got nothing left in the tank when it comes to answers for what the hell's going on this year.
I can start with, I'll start with this. So I guess a little peek behind the scenes or just a look into kind of how we are as a podcast as a whole. Our most listened to episode was it was titled Breaking Point, and it was from way back in December. And it was the episode after they lost to Columbus 9-4 at home. After they beat Toronto at home, then I think they lost to the Rangers and Bruins in disappointing losses. And it was very appropriate by that name. It was called Breaking Point. And we sounded off for, I think, an hour and a half about everything: the power play, the disappointing performances by the players. God knows we went after the coaching. We even went a little bit after Kevin Adams. And I'll ask you this question: how much has changed since that episode? How much of the
Uh,
narratives have changed?
Narratives,
Just
just as
anything we talked about back then. I know it was a while ago. I mean, it's going on 4 months. What's changed for the team since then? Anything?
Bowen Byram.
Bowen Byram. They
yeah,
And
traded their
Case
best
Middlestat's
player.
gone.
And I'm
Yes.
not
yeah,
mad. I'm not mad about the middle stat being traded, but I'm just saying that's the only change.
it's not even a narrative though. You're just changing the lineup up. That's it. Like we moved some guys
And
out. It's a
it's a
normal.
big move. And of
Yeah,
course, things have changed. Okay, obviously,
this is the
Middlestat
normal
gone,
course of a season.
Byram in, Okposo out, Johnson out. But I guess beyond those, what's changed? What has changed since December? That I think in that if maybe if you go back to that episode, I don't know word for word how that episode went down, but what I do remember, I'm fairly certain talking about how the rest of the season had to go down. Like you had to make the right decisions, the big decisions, the important decisions, the hard decisions. How much has changed since then?
No, nothing. There's been no difficult decisions that were made other than maybe moving out Casey Middlestat. And again, like the only thing I saw, the big I guess big quote turning point in this season was the so-called philosophical change where they switched back to their offensive, minded play like they
Which
did
was in that,
last
I
season.
think it was in that episode.
Yeah, but even going back to the event we were at, they said that there was no sort of structure change to how they were playing. They just emphasized defense more, which kind of handicapped the offense even more. But I don't know. I'm running out of excuses. I'm running out of reasons and answers. I don't want to be questioning the team as much as I have been this season, but here we are. We've gotten to a point where they're not going to make the playoffs again, where the fan base is at another breaking point. Can you believe it? The fan base is at another breaking point. The team's getting blown out in the first period like they were all year at the beginning of the season. It feels like we're right back to square one. They're not, and I reiterate, they're not making the playoffs again. They're not winning these fans over. I'd love to see what it looks like at the beginning of next season when it comes to attendance, season ticket sales, because if I'm being honest, it's probably going to look the same, if not worse, than it did this year.
I saw a great tweet. Credit to at 23 Sabres on Twitter, Aaron. He he reposted or he quote tweeted someone about the bad attendance in Buffalo last night, and he said, look at the difference. The Ottawa Senators tonight, so a Thursday night game, $19. $19 for a ticket at the Sens game tonight against the Blackhawks, against Connor Bedard. And the tickets for, I think it was next Thursday's game at home, 48. 48. That's more than double. So, I mean, I do not envy any ticket reps going into next season. They got the worst job in the world. They got to try and sell a product that that isn't good, let alone there's no interest in. And it's priced out a large margin of fans.
Yeah, it's pretty telling as
Wait,
to the
wait till the new
financial.
scoreboard comes in.
Yeah, it's pretty telling as to what the financial situation of the team is just based on ticket sales. When the team has been this bad for this long and you still have to pay $40 to sit in the last row of the corner, don't shoot twice section. But go drill another oil well, Terry.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy
I
birthday.
know you guys had to sit through that fiasco, but he got exactly what he deserved that night.
I turned to JP. I think it was honestly it was probably after like the fourth or fifth goal. I'm like, I wonder if he's watching. I wonder if he still.
Yeah.
I wonder he probably turned it on and was like, you know what, this is how I'm gonna enjoy my birthday, watching my team. And I would be fairly certain he turned it off after the first period.
He turned it on from his yacht, wherever the hell he is. Hasn't spoken to the. Can you believe he hasn't spoken to the media in 4 years? What owner does that? I feel like even the worst
How
owners
about here's
were
this.
around.
Not just your owner anymore. President of the team now. That's his role.
That's a good point.
He's the president of the team. And I know it was a recent promotion, but it was earlier this season. He had points to at least make an appearance. And you know, he's made appearances publicly, RJ Knight obviously, Miller Knight. But I don't know. It's just, you know, it's a yearly, almost yearly cycle where when everything goes bad, it finds its way back up top because that's the only overarching thing. That's if there's one constant in the 13-year playoff drought that the Buffalo Sabres have gone through, it's Terry Pegula. And, you know, you can't, you know, Terry Pegula is not making the team score less, but obviously it's just it's just a poorly run team right now that it got to this point.
Like you can't even luck your way in. Like some of these really bad teams, they just find a way to just,
How are the Capitals going to make the
back in.
playoffs, dude?
Yeah, just
How?
like back in, like just completely random. There's some vibe surrounding this organization. There's just some like weird bad luck, like it's following us, and it's almost like the players know it and the fans know it because the players, they feed off of the fans, and the fans have been through this whole 13-year playoff drought. And when the fans see something goes wrong, I feel like everyone sits up in their seat and everyone has the exact same thought. It's like, here we go again. We're about to blow this game. It's over. And then the players aren't dumb. They see that and they know that. They could see people in the crowd. The glass is clear. They could see everyone. They could see the reactions. It's some energy that just it's some like weird like darkness, if I could put it bluntly. It's just some darkness that's surrounding the organization. I don't know where it came from. Maybe it was just like previous years of bad play, but it's here and I could feel it too. And it makes it really hard to, get behind a team, especially when they hit the rough patches during the year.
The Ottawa Senators scored 5 goals in the first period. There were not even Sabres players slamming sticks, or at least from what I saw. The only person who was slamming stuff was Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. They've been through
He's
this.
had the fire,
They've
man.
they've been through this.
Yeah.
They know the feeling of being embarrassed, and not just embarrassed, embarrassed on your home ice. They know the feeling. Like, you can't even get mad at it anymore because it's not a new emotion. I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to call it anything but a culture of losing, and it's not that it's what it is. It's just they've just gone through it so many times. It's not, I hate that they say, they accept losing or any any terminology like that, but
It's what it feels like.
it's more so that they've just done it so many times and they just don't know how to stop.
You
Like
don't
they
know anything else, man. You just don't.
like when it gets bad for this team, it gets bad. It doesn't become a 2-3 nothing period. It becomes a 4. It becomes a 5 nothing period. It doesn't become a 6-4 loss to the Blue Jackets. It doesn't become a 7 or even an 8. It's a 9-4 blowout at home. You're winning against the Edmonton Oilers. You're up 2 nothing. You go down 3-2 and or 3-3. I don't even know. There was 11 goals scored in that game. And you don't just lose 5-3, 6-3, 7. You lose 8-3. You let Connor Brown score.
Dude, those Sabres After Dark games.
Oh, they're cursed.
I
How many
mean,
good ones have we had in like
first,
the 5 years that it's been alive?
not many, but
I feel like we hype ourselves up every single time, and every single Sabres After Dark road trip, aside from, I don't know, maybe last year, like they're just miserable. Like they're the worst Sabres games of the season.
no, but like it's funny because if you know me, I'm not a night owl. Like I'm usually in bed pretty early. So I'll catch the first few periods of a Sabres After Dark game. If it's early in the season and they go on a Western road trip, I'll watch the whole game because, hockey's back, want to watch it. Hopes are high. But like going into that trip, the odds were so against us. I was just like, if I fall asleep, I fall asleep. And I fell asleep for what did I fall asleep for? 3 out of the 4 Western games because one of them was the Seattle game, and that was in the middle of the day. Or
No, that was that night.
were they all at night?
Yeah, they were all. I think, look, because I think Alberta's an hour. I don't know the geography, but I'm pretty sure the Alberta games started at 9 o'clock Eastern, and
Okay,
Seattle,
well,
Vancouver were at 10.
either way, I fell asleep at the end of the second period in the Edmonton game, 3-3. And I wake up for work the next morning, or I just wake up in the middle of the night and I check my phone because it's the immediately when I wake up, it's the first thing I think about. I'm like, oh, did they win? I looked at my phone, like, the meme of the guy looking into like the light of his phone, just like this. I'm seeing it, and I'm like, am I seeing this right? 8-3, and I'm just like, and then I'm like, what the hell? I open my phone, I go on the NHL. I'm like, who the heck? What happened? Just 5 straight unanswered goals. I'm like, that's such a Sabres way to lose a game. And then I fell asleep for the Calgary game and they won. And I was like, oh, great. We got some momentum going to home. Nope. Game over. The Ottawa Senators ended your season.
When games get out of hand like that, who is really to blame? It's leadership. It's all leadership. When games, when they're close and then you can see your team starting to fall down, that's when you need a leader or a good coach to pick you up, to maybe take your goddamn time out and take a breather. Tell everybody, all right, let's just get one goal at a time. Let's make some adjustments. They're doing this against us, so let's do this. There's none of that. There's none of that. That's the problem.
I
That's
think
the problem.
adjustments is the key word there because the Sabres just last night's a perfect example. You're playing the Ottawa Senators. The Ottawa Senators. What are they? 28th in the NHL? Like that is a team like you should not let in 5 goals in one period against that team.
It's always the bottom feeders too, like Columbus, Ottawa.
Oh my God. See, it's funny because I was at that Columbus game, and
Ugh.
that was Jack, as we tweeted out. That was Jack Quinn's first return this season, and I think when Ottawa made it 4-0, I was getting deja vu because I'm in the same exact spot, watching them get blown out, watching their goalie get pulled. I think Luukkonen started the game against Columbus, and it's like here we go again. Here we go again. And oh my God, it it's just. I mean, I tweeted out. I think after the third goal, why is Don Granato not taking his timeout? Ottawa scored 2 more goals after that. He still didn't take it. Like
Dude,
that's
I don't.
that is
I don't.
coach. Like that is coaching 101. Like 5-0, 5-0. Screw. I don't care if because Don Granato, post game, I think he said he didn't call the timeout because the team was still getting their chances offensively, which to a degree is true. Like they had chances that first period. Krebs had a breakaway. Paterka had a breakaway. But it's 5-0, Don.
You got to
Even
settle
if
them
you
down.
think, even if you think that the team is playing fine, how about you make them believe they're not? Call a timeout and scream at them. Be like, I just had to pull your goalie that's been carrying you for the last 4 months, and he's pissed off. Are you just gonna you're just gonna let that continue to happen? It's the little things.
It is, and they add up, and I feel like it's kind of why we've gotten to the place we've gotten to with Don Granato. I feel like we've gotten to a place where he's done this before with pulling a goalie with 27 seconds left in a game, or not taking timeouts, or saying in a post-game press conference after a win, saying something along the lines of, "Oh yeah, we brought the energy tonight. Thank God. I was getting worried that we weren't bringing." I'm like, "Who says this?" Like you just basically you outed yourself as kind of incompetent there. Like
He had a very,
I can't
very
remember what
short
game
press
that
conference
was.
after this game. I'm not sure if you listened, Christian, but it was like a 5 minute presser. It was probably the shortest one I've ever heard from him.
He's
Like
out of
what is
answers.
there to say?
He is
Yeah,
straight up out of answers. He had he I- A few of those answers were along the lines of, we'll watch the video and we'll talk to the players about what went wrong. Like he has nothing.
like he
He is
needs
he like I you almost feel bad for the guy because to a degree like he thinks he hasn't like he has an idea of what he thinks is going wrong, and when that doesn't work continually, you almost feel bad because he's like, I think Paul Hamilton used the term, he looked like a deer in headlights, and that's so perfect.
yeah, he's cooked, man.
He just doesn't he just doesn't have the answers for this group this season.
No.
And
He's cooked, bro.
it goes back to the season ticket holder event where I got the impression that Adams and Granado, not that they were completely off base from one another, but that like there's a shift in how each of those two are feeling. Like Kevin Adams, we can talk about the heckling fans. How did Kevin Adams respond when they were basically taking a shot at the team's entire season? He said,
Okay.
"Okay," and moved on. And what did Don Granado do?
Got fired up.
He got fired up and talked for like 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's a guy who feels the pressure of his job and feels frustrated that things are not falling his way. And I do feel
Yeah.
bad. You're watching a guy who basically knows that, man, he's got to do a 180 if he sticks around next season. It has to be like a complete 180. Complete 180 or he's done.
He'll be here next season. I know he'll start the year, and we'll fire him way too late into the season, and then it'll be over again. I don't understand the hesitation sometimes. Like guys, like he's gonna be one of the longest tenured coaches in the league, and he's had no success with it. He's had development success. He's had no like relevant success with this team. He hasn't taken him to the playoffs yet. I I don't understand what the organization's goal was when they signed him to that extension. Like of course there was a major jump in the team's development, but even before that, we like us as a group were saying Don Granado is probably only going to take this team so far. We said that before he signed that extension and before last season in a podcast. Well, we've gotten to that point. I guess he got his extension, but now we've gotten to a point where it doesn't look like he has the answers anymore. Like the decision making it just blows my mind sometimes.
Yeah, that extension, man, that is such like 100%. Like
It's an albatross.
It's the only reason he's still here.
I was just about to say, he like they are. If they keep Don Granado around for next season, it is maybe 30% because they still think he can turn it around. Maybe the other 70% has got to be because they just don't want to pay him before his extension even kicks in.
And it goes right back up to the top with the ownership. Because I know for a fact behind closed doors, Terry Pegula is having talks with Kevin Adams. And I don't want to put words in his mouth, but this is my prediction. Terry doesn't want to pay another coach. So he's telling Kevin Adams, go out, get players, and have I expect you to have Don Granado figure this out.
See, but at I don't know. I think I might be hopeful than most other fans that there might actually be some sort of change because if they roll, if I mean, I love Donnie. I loved him, so I feel bad saying all this, but it's like if they roll back with him next year, like the fan, what you're not going to get any fans back in the building. Like your interest is going to be so low, and everybody's going to be so upset. Like I feel like Terry almost has to make this move just to save the fan base. And
Oh,
that's also why I think like if they actually do make the fire, he's gonna bring back Lindy Ruff because it will
yep.
reinvigorate the entire fan base. Like I really do envision that move coming just because of the PR stuff. Like
Yeah.
that will give him so much slack because everybody will be so happy with the move. Everybody will be so happy that Lindy's back that they'll forget about last season. So
Like
that's I honestly think that might happen. And if it doesn't, Jonah's right. It's because, it's because of the extension.
Yeah, there's only
yeah.
there's three people maybe that I could see them firing Granado for. It's Brindamore, who is not going anywhere, maybe Mike Sullivan, and Lindy Ruff. Those are the only people I could see being hired. That is it. Or for Grano being fired over.
It's funny because we're obviously the attendance is at an all-time low. Well, it has been, but hey, you want to fill the seats. If you bring back a coach that has been a fan favorite here, this, don't get me wrong now, this could backfire terribly on the organization. This could ruin the reputation of a guy who's not only played for this team, but has also coached for this team previously and had success coaching this team previously. This could go one of two ways. One, it'll go great like we all expect it to, and he'll get him over the hump and we'll be in the playoffs. Or two, this backfires terribly and it'll ruin another alumni reputation around here, possibly. But hey, if they bring Lindy Ruff in, I'll buy a ticket for opening night next year.
Look, if I think Lindy should be clawing for that job because like if he comes back and even if they just make the playoffs and the rest of his tenure is not good, he's gonna be a living legend around here. He's
Yeah,
already
yeah.
he's already been a
The
player.
Tyrod Taylor of
Yeah,
He'll
this
be the
league.
yes.
Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah. He's already a player that was beloved. He was a coach. Everybody looks back on those times as like the best times in Sabres history. And if he were to bring us to the playoffs and break the 13-year drought, like he would be a god in Buffalo. And he already loves Buffalo. He lives here in the offseason. He comes to off-season events. Like
He lives here.
I think it makes so much sense.
I
And
just got a funny meme. It's it's such the Thanos meme. It's Pagula, Kevin Adams, and I don't know, whoever you want, the third guy, and it's them walking up to Thanos, and you could not live with your own failure. So where did
Yep.
that lead you? Back to me.
yep.
Back to the very first coach, Terry Pagula fired.
Yep. Why did we fire him, by the way? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just blanking.
Because they missed the playoffs one year and had a slow start. Because that's what you
That's
do.
what you do.
Yep.
Look,
And
I said this to JP in the car jokingly last night. I said the Terry Pagula of 2011 would be very disappointed in what the hell has happened to this franchise.
yeah, I think it might be apathy too. I don't know. Maybe his oil wells are running dry or something. But yeah,
Look, no,
I mean,
he's put a ton of he has put a ton of money into this team and this
he's put a ton of
franchise.
money into the
And
city.
it's come up empty-handed. And look, it's not justification. Like, if you don't want to spend money on the team, sell the team. But
Mhm.
I can see that COVID was the big jump, took a bite out of this franchise, out of probably the Bills, out of everything he owned, and he's trying to save pennies. And this is what you get. This is why you don't get salary retention on any trades. They have not retained salary on a single player since Taylor Hall. They haven't acquired any cap dumps during this rebuild.
They don't
The
want
only
it.
time they
Don't
did
forget it.
was Will Butcher. That was the
No,
only
you're
time.
forgetting about we traded for Ben Bishop. I mean, you cannot forget about that great
Oh,
trade.
don't-
Oh,
and
Johnny Boychuk.
Johnny Boychuk too.
Yes,
Like, these are
just to get
Terry,
over
look,
the cap.
Terry.
By the way,
Look, Terry Pagula is willing to dish out some money. He just paid Sam Martin $6 million to be a punter for the Bills. But in seriousness, look, he's given a lot of money to the core of this team, but he's not willing at this point to do the extra stuff, to be aggressive in free agency, to take on cap dumps in a rebuild, to retain on salary, to get a draft pick that's 1 or 2 rounds higher. So you're playing this game with a hand tied behind your back. And let's not even, you don't even need to get into the bare bones scouting staff that they employ, which has hardly been expanded since they basically killed it off back in 2020. The last time, that's what started. That's the whole reason Pagula addressed the media back then. He basically he cut ties with half his company, which doesn't even exist anymore. Pagula Sports Entertainment doesn't even exist. So this guy's he's lost probably a lot of money, and that's
Sound
just
bad right now.
he's just not willing to do the little things to help this team. It's got to, if it's a big move, I guess he'll listen. I don't know. I guess that's where I'm at. But he's probably not willing to pay a coach that's to not coach here for 2 years.
If he was a real man, he'd take the Sabres payroll and he'd go right across the street to Seneca Niagara Casino and he would bet the house on red and spin and pray.
Unrelated, but I was very, very upset that Olofsson didn't get a garbage time goal last night.
yeah, you know what?
I was so sure.
That you know what? That's another reason why Donnie's got to go. When you're down 3 or 4 goals, you got to know who your garbage time players are. And Victor Olofsson is one of your garbage time players, and he had like 5 minutes of ice time. He should have been out there every other shift.
You got to know who puts the puck in the net when it doesn't matter.
Exactly. He'll get a meaningless goal, and then the hype will be brought back up, and we'll come back in the game.
ABBA will be flowing through the speakers at KeyBank Center. Everybody will be, right back into it.
Hey, I hope Christian gets to see one more Victor Olofsson goal before he's gone this offseason.
I hope he scores next week for you.
Well, I'll probably be going to the game tomorrow now too.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
very
So
cool.
2 more games
There you
before
go.
the end of the season. But you know what? I'm a sicko. I like to torture myself. So you know what? Let's do it. Let's go. Let's maybe get some chicken tendies or you know what? What other? I haven't tried the other food spots yet. It's like, do
I
you guys
I s-
recommend anything?
I stumbled upon the buffalo chicken pizza this season, and I don't think I've ever gone back. It is so good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know
But I
JP
have,
doesn't like the sesame seeds.
yeah, they have made a return, which
Don't get me started
we've
about
gone into
that.
detail on here before about. I do got to try more stuff.
This is the breaking. This is JP's breaking point. Is the sesame seeds on the pizza? This
You
is
know,
this is where he
I
draws a line.
think I think I got pizza like once this year just because attendees are fire. And I look and
They
I'm
are.
like,
They are good.
are those freaking sesame seeds back on my pizza? I thought we were done with this crap.
For
I
anybody who
couldn't
doesn't,
believe it.
for anybody who doesn't know, JP has a long history with sesame seeds on pizza at KeyBank Center. This dates back to like 2019 when out of nowhere they just started. It wasn't, they weren't just sprinkled on there. It was like they dumped an entire bag of them on there.
Is it like a
And he's never
texture
lived it
thing
down.
for you, JP?
Like you don't even taste them. What's the issue?
Sesame seeds should not be on pizza. Okay,
Are you
we're in Buffalo, New York. Okay, we were just had that list that went around Twitter that we were what second in the nation in pizza. All of our best pizza places, none of them have sesame seeds on their pizza.
are
And I
you
know Just Pizza doesn't do that
no
because I know or Just Pizza's no
Lenova?
Lenova. Lenova's main branches, they don't do that. It's
Mm-mm.
just KeyBank. What are they trying to do? What are they cooking?
Do you like sunflower seeds? I know you. Well, you're a baseball guy. Do you chew
Yeah.
sunflower seeds?
Yeah.
I mean,
Doesn't mean I want sunflower seeds on my pizza.
fair enough, but like, I don't know. Like when I have the sesame seeds, like I don't taste them. Maybe it's because I inhale the food, but I don't. Yeah, I don't taste them. But I've had those even before they did all like the new concession stuff. I had like the the odd specialty hot dog or whatever it was that had like pulled pork on it. That's pretty good. But I haven't tried much else. So I've seen some of those places and I'm like, I don't know. I know they do hot dog of the day. Um,
You get the like 2 foot long nachos.
I was gonna say, JP, we should split those tomorrow. two
We can
foot
do
long
that.
nachos.
We can do that.
You know what? You know what? In honor of MLB opening day being today,
Yes.
I'm
Here we
gonna
go.
I'm gonna represent the only quality franchise that I root for, and that's the
I
Boston Red Sox.
they're certainly not quality right now.
For any of
But
our for any of our YouTube viewers, you can see that I'm donning this beautiful City Connect Red Sox hat, and Christian has left his seat. He's probably gonna throw on a jersey or something.
yeah. And
I have
But
too many
for
hats.
for those
JP
people
and
that
I,
don't know, yeah, we're Red Sox fans, Jonah and I, and it's kind of funny because they're actually in a really bad situation right now, and it's very similar to the Sabres. Their ownership is not spending money. They have a super young team, like the youngest team the Red Sox have ever had on opening day. So we were like, it's just fitting. The Sabres season died yesterday, basically,
it's
and now the Red Sox start up tonight.
it's it's actually scarily poetic.
Yeah,
It's you literally witness the death of one team's season, and the next day, it's the birth of a new one.
and it's like the same team, same situation. I don't know, it's comical.
I got too many hats, so I couldn't find it, but that's what we're repping this year.
I have a bone to pick with Yankees Sabres.
4-0 comeback today.
You
Juan
people like
Soto,
you,
amazing play. Throw from the
people like to
outfield.
identify with the misery of Buffalo sports, and then you go to your summer cabins and root for the Yankees.
Give me a break. I've been a Yankees fan
Suffer
since I was a
through it.
kid. I'm not. I didn't jump ship onto the Yankees. I've been a Yankees fan going back.
Oh man,
This has gotten so bad it's not even a Sabres podcast anymore.
We don't even
Uh,
care. We don't care. It's just this doesn't deserve to be a Sabres podcast right now.
this
There's
is what
nothing
we're
to
going to be
talk about.
donning all summer. These will be our podcast attire.
Maybe we could do like a little bit of MLB talk over the summer.
I don't know.
I know. I don't
Both
know.
our teams are not supposed
Both
to be
our
good,
teams
so
are
I wouldn't
I
be
think it'd
too
be fun.
encouraged.
I think it'd be fun. Just
It's gonna
like
be fun. It's gonna
yelling
be
at each
this.
other.
It's gonna be this podcast over and over again. Well,
Yeah,
our teams suck. What's going wrong?
yeah.
Except the
What do you
Yankees.
mean? We're
Well,
1-0.
well, the Yankees are like the Senators of the conversation, where they're spending so much money and assets, and the Sabres or the Red Sox are the Sabres, where they're not doing shit. So
Very true.
Let's see which one works out.
Yeah, let's see
Well,
how it works out
if
for the
last year's
Yankees
anything
without
to go
Garrett
by.
Cole.
Is Juan Soto the Jacob Chikrin of the New York Yankees?
Oh my God, that'd be hilarious.
Oh man.
I hope not, but hopefully Cole's back soon because thank God he didn't need Tommy Johns. That would have been the end of the season right there. But
JP and I's conversation did turn to baseball a little bit last night, and he was joking about Aaron Boone's quote about Aaron Judge.
Yeah, it's just some, common spring training getting banged up. No, it happens to everybody. Guys already hurt.
What's spring training? What do you mean regular spring training injuries? This is spring training.
dude, everyone on that roster's made of glass. Stanton, Judge. Judge had a legitimate reason last year. I mean, like he did kind of mess his foot up pretty bad on that outfield wall,
Flying
but
through the wall.
yeah, but yeah, some of these guys are just like DJ LeMahieu. Where are you? What do you have? He has a foot contusion. Like that's the funny. Like go back to Sabres talk here. It's like in the NHL, it's either upper body injury or lower body injury.
Oh,
In
I
the
hate it.
MLB,
I despise it
it's
so much.
it is so detailed. It's like
Any
right
other
foot
sport, really?
contusion,
It's
Any other
every
spleen
other
sport.
sport.
laceration.
It's really just hockey. Hockey just
I-
they keep it under
I
wraps.
think it's incredible because, like, in the NHL, this is how they do it. Okay, in football, you're literally going out there aiming for someone's head and like trying to hurt other people, and they still tell you every single injury that someone has. Like, we knew that Josh Allen had a torn UCL or whatever the entire season. Where do you think defender's gonna go?
How about when Nick Chubb, his leg blew up and you knew like all 5 places it got hurt in.
It's a lower body injury.
in like 2 hours. He's like, yeah, he actually avoided retirement.
Nick
Yeah.
Chubb leaves
Yeah.
game with lower body injury. He's listed as
Could you
he's listed as week to week, questionable to return.
Can you imagine some like like imagine that's how it would be on hockey. Like, oh yeah, Nick Chubb, he's taking a maintenance day. He's gonna be out. For a
Yeah, he'll
little
be
bit.
back.
No, and with how the Sabres been and how the Sabres training staff has been, yeah, he's day to day. Oh yeah, no, he's week to week now. Oh, actually, he's done for the season.
We're actually waiting for results back, so we'll get back to you guys later in the week.
Yeah.
Man.
Can I also say one thing about hockey is that I don't understand how coaches don't know like what's going on with their players' health like every single game. Like after a game happens, someone gets hurt, right? Like if Donnelly leaves a game, okay, then the first question of the post-game press conference will be, "So what's wrong with Donnelly?" "Oh, I don't know. I haven't caught up with him yet." What do you mean? I don't really get that.
I don't know. Man, this Christian, you said at the beginning this might go off the rails. It has.
It's
gone a bit
off
off
the rails.
Yeah, my apologies to everybody listening.
Can we talk
No.
about one positive thing?
What is it about?
My JJ Paterka, I don't even know what to call it, but I feel vindicated. Only good player the last few games. Well, I shouldn't say the only good player.
He's been
Tatum
one of the
Tucker been
only
better.
good. He's been one of the only few consistently good players all season. I was thinking I might get his jersey. Like I don't have a
Oh, God,
white.
Don't.
Nope,
Don't.
nope.
No,
I don't
no,
have
no,
a
no,
white
no, 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 no.
jersey,
You
so-
stay
sorry.
away from him. Can you
Yeah.
get like?
No.
Can you get a?
I have a Jeff
I don't even
Skinner
know. Can you
jersey. He's
get a
been
Gergensen,
fine.
dude. Just get a Gergensen's jersey. That way, you know he'll be gone. They won't re-sign him.
I have a Jeff Skinner jersey. He's been fine this year.
It's been fine. Fine is the right way to put it.
I do not believe in malarkey like that. Like those.
Dude, you got an Olafson jersey, and he changed his number like what 3 months later.
And that's probably why he started to suck. But like also when I got his jersey, he was probably one of the only good players left on the team that wasn't sold off in the core. And I think he's just the product of a core that's not here anymore. I feel like he would be much better used in a system that would fit him elsewhere in the league. I bet you if you put him on a roster with a team that fits his skill set that needs a guy like that, I promise you he will be a middle six guy playing consistent minutes in the NHL. He's not needed. He's not a transitional guy. He's one dimensional. He shoots and he's got a hell of a shot and most of the time if he gets a clean look it goes in. And that's kind of why like I liked him so much. He was just electric to watch. The
I
Sabres even going back to before the team they have now, like they weren't much of an off the rush type of goal. Like you had Eichel carrying it in. Who else did you have rush it? Oposo and Girgensons, or maybe Evan Rodriguez, or God knows who. You didn't have the defensemen you had now. You had Jake McCabe and Rasmus Ristolainen, those two bruisers. They're not carrying the puck up the ice full speed. Like
let it all
Olafson, he
out,
brought a
buddy.
little bit of a spark, man.
Let
He
it all
did.
out. Let it all out, man.
I'm just justifying
You
why
said,
I should be getting a JJ Peterka jersey. I think I made my point. I just, I think Victor Olofsson, I think he'd be okay in a different organization. I just think he's in a bad spot right now, and I feel for him because he's getting put on a line with guys that don't fit his needs. He's not a play driving type of player. He doesn't carry a line. He's a complementary piece, and when you stick him with Girgensons and Robinson every night, what the hell do you think's going to happen? You're not going to score goals.
He's
One of the other reasons that Donnie will get fired, what is he doing with Jordan Greenway? He is making the fan base hate him because he's not playing the right role. He's not a top six forward. He's not a top power play forward. What is he doing? I mean, it was funny because Joe and I were talking about it, and we were like, you know what? He's in like the right spot. He's a good forward checker. He just has stone hands. He has stone hands. If he didn't have stone hands, fine. But it's
big if.
like Donnie, like I don't get
I
it.
think I said this probably to you guys. I think Greenway's like his first lineup quirk. Like he's the first guy where it's like, why? What does he see in him? Even like when he was like the only guys I can think of before this that it was like that was like Cody Eakin, but even Cody Eakin, he was always on the fourth line. Like we wanted him
Yeah.
to be scratched, but he wasn't their second line center. And then Middlestat early last season, but he turned out to be right about that. This is the first time where I'm like, what's going on? Like first line winger is one thing, but like on the first power play consistently, like Don, come on.
Jordan Greenway on a team and on a competently run team, he's a fourth line winger, as he
Hey,
should be.
I think
He's a bottom
third.
six player.
He's a bottom six
I don't
guy.
think he's a
That's fine.
fourth line player. I think he's he can be on the third or fourth, but I don't think
Yeah.
he's not Zemgus Girgensons. We're like, all right, that's a fourth line player. I think Greenway has the ability to play higher, but not any higher than that for on a consistent basis.
I mean, I think going into next season, you got your top six, and then you got Benson. I mean, Benson could be a part of that too. So it's like, I don't know. You got what? You got Skinner, Thompson, Tuck, Paterka, Cousins, Quinn, and then you got Benson, Krebs, and then insert you need to go out and get a good winger, someone who can
don't-
play in the top six.
I don't think Peyton Krebs is their third line center. I
Yeah.
hate to say it, he really this has been his opportunity. He's playing with Jeff
Yeah.
Skinner consistently. He's been with I don't know who else has been shuffled on that line, but he just hasn't taken this role by the reins. I think
It
they're gonna
pains me to say it, but I agree.
yeah, he's not doing enough with this.
The organization isn't going to accept that. I hope you know that. I hope you know that he's going to be around longer than we need him to be around for.
Well, he's a good player.
It's fine. It's just
He's been
not,
on the fourth line for most of his time here. He's finally getting a shot. He's just not taking advantage of it. But at the same time, you know what? If they were to give him a shot next season, I wouldn't be upset just because this team's been so bad. It's not like we've been playing good like while he's been here, and I don't know.
I don't know. They need
I don't know.
just I don't know. I think I sent it to you guys. There was that, the deployment chart going around, just like how the Sabres,
Yeah.
just how their team is deployed, and it's just so like questionable. Like everybody's deployed the same, or your worst defensive or your best defensive forwards are getting the easiest matchups. Like, what sense does that make? It just.
Doesn't make sense at
I
all.
mean, I read that, and I thought back to last night. They're down 3 goals, and it's like he's just shuffling, like he's just rolling the same lines.
He's shuffling a deck of cards, man. It's weird.
He just doesn't.
He's not. He did just. He's out of answers. He's
And
out of
and
answers.
what? When did he pull the goalie, JP? What was there? 2.5 minutes left? 3 minutes, maybe?
It wasn't that egregious because we were saying why are we not pulling the goalie, and then we got control of the puck, and he like pulled the goalie like 20 seconds later. It wasn't that
I
bad,
guess.
but he should have pulled it earlier.
It's just everything is so. I don't know. Like I was
How
thinking about. I think we'll close on this. I was thinking about this. Imagine you are Don Granato, and let's say I'm Kevin Adams. Let's say we're having our exit interview. Like, try and build your case for why you should stay, and I
You're
want
fired.
you, and I want you to like think: is there anything that he could use in his case that isn't an excuse and positively happened from this year? Like, I think besides saying Peterka flourished under him this year, like everything he could use is from last season, or it has to do with excuses. That it has to do with, injuries, we're young, or maybe, we'll hire a new staff, or like, I don't know. Like, what if you're conducting an interview with Don Granato, what can he positively make? What can he say to make you want to rehire him?
The only thing I could think of is that he could kind of he could say how our defensive structure has gotten better, and that's why UPL has had such a good year. That's all I can think of.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's justifiable. I mean, let's put it out there. We'll say it again.
Yeah, Lukanen this year. That was me. That was me,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah, that's also what I was thinking. Let's just remind everybody, if UPL played like he did last year, we'd be
Oh
like
my god.
worst in the league right now.
Oh
We'd
my
be
God.
a
We'd be
lottery
getting
team.
Macklin celebrating
Dude,
right
I
now.
think
Donnie might be gone
Man. Donnie
already.
would be gone. I mean, we've said this. How
Yeah.
many? I think I said this last episode. How many jobs is Lukanen gonna save? Like, I think this coaching, the staff is gone. I think
Easily.
Lukanen might have very well saved Don Granato's job.
I mean, it's the excuses for me. Like if I was gonna build a case, like from what I've seen, if I'm Kevin Adams is a smart guy. Like he knows it hasn't been there this year. So I mean, give me your excuses, buddy. Let me see if I could, justify them in my own head to give you another shot here. But I hope like if I'm talking from Kevin Adams' perspective right now, he'd be saying, I hope if I bring you back, not only is your job on the line, my job's on the line too.
It's this. That is another thing I was thinking is that Kevin's job, if next season doesn't go well, I think it might already be starting to warm up, even though obviously we're more positive than most other people. This is a defining moment for him too.
Mhm.
Like if he keeps Donnie into next year and it starts going bad, like everybody's going to be calling for his head even more. Like this is a huge moment for him to make a decision.
He's got to ball out in free agency this year. He's got to bring in some guys. He can't do what he did last year and bring in some
He
scrubs.
doesn't have a great track record in free agency.
You got to figure it out. You got to do something. The drafting, it's not going to help you. You're bringing in young guys again. It's like you need someone to help the team now, not a development project. He's done a great. This organization has done a great job with its prospects and building that pool. But you got to be able to bring in. It's half the battle is being able to bring in supporting pieces in free agency. Maybe a little less than half the battle, but still, it's
I don't
important.
know. I
It's
hate free
important.
agency.
So do I.
The Sabres
ma-
franchise as a whole hates free
Yeah,
agency.
Make,
Who's the greatest free agent signing in this team's history?
Kyle
Can't think of
Okposo.
one. Okposo like leads all free agents in points.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
He's
who is
Spot Chuck,
it?
I think.
He's
I think
actually our
Spot Chuck
best
was a
one.
free agent. That's like it.
He's gonna have to
Avoid
make
it like the
trades.
plague. It's gonna have
Yeah.
to be trades. He's gonna have to. He has to find another Byram trade where it's just nobody sees it coming. Or no, not that nobody sees it coming, but nobody knows he's available. Like nobody thought that Bowen Byram was available.
I think Krebs might be involved in a trade this offseason.
I was thinking about Ryan Johnson.
Maybe that could be
Like
smart. I mean,
why?
he's
Why
had
isn't he up right
flashes.
now? Like think about it. Why isn't he up right now?
I think they just want to give him playing time in the AHL.
I'm sure that would be their excuse, but from now on that's fine. But the last 2 months, like you're in a playoff race. I don't know.
If you guys really want, if you're bored at work, like I am sometimes, if you really want to pass the time, just go to Cap Friendly, go to the armchair GM mode, and just look at some of the
Oh my God, the
fantastic
one that you
ideas that these
sent
people
and
have,
we
man.
reposted. Oh my God, that was glorious. That
There,
was
I
that
was
was so
looking at them
good.
today. Some of them are pretty wild.
They're
Like
all
some of
dude.
them are
It's
crazy.
I did have one more thought. If Don Granato comes back, who do you place the blame on more? Like let's say Kevin Adams had free reign. Let's say Terry Pagula gave him the green light, or that the contract wasn't an issue. Do you think that if Granato comes back, it's because of Adams,
Probably.
or do you think it's on the powers above him?
I I have I like Kevin more than 90% of the fan base, let's be honest. I think he would make the move.
To move on from him?
Yes. I think he would. I think he
Oh
knows
no,
where
yeah,
it's
me
at,
too.
and I think it's that damn extension.
Because we just talked about this. Everybody's gonna blow up on Adams if Granato comes back, and if Granato comes back and the team falls flat out of the gate and he gets fired, do we put that blame on Adams? And I know,
Yeah.
and even if, because I'm torn because is it Terry? Like this is a guy who we talked about this episode. He just
Yeah,
doesn't
I
want
guess
to
you got
do
a
the
good
extra
point.
stuff. Like it's just you just don't know the power dynamic. You don't know how much control Adams has over this decision.
That's the answer. You won't know. You're not gonna know.
Yeah.
And
I mean, at the end of the day, if it comes to it, like I just don't know. Like it's always gonna come back to ownership. I just don't know how. I don't know. Hopefully, it doesn't come to that. Hopefully, they make the change now or at the end of the season, and it doesn't have to come to that. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm not looking forward to that day in November.
unless Terry decides to speak to the media and like maybe put the record straight, we're not gonna know. We'll never know.
No, we'll never know. Even if he speaks to the media, you never know what happens behind closed doors.
I just had a funny thought. What if they brought him to one of those season ticket holder events?
Oh, yo,
Dude,
if people knew he was showing up,
that would
a
get
lot of people would be there.
bad.
Look, there's a reason why he hasn't had any press conferences. There's a reason why he doesn't show his face much in Buffalo. There's a reason.
I would like to know, when's the last time he's addressed the media like in person? Kruger being hired? Was he there?
He was, I think
June,
so.
In June of 2020, that was the Zoom call. I think that was when him and Kim talked to the media.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, dude, it's been a while since he's even addressed the media in person.
I don't even think he's really addressed like for the Bills either. Like I'm sure he said stuff like about the stadium, but it's like he's never interviewed about the Bills.
No, but he's there.
I think it's
You see him with the team all the damn time.
It's true.
He was there. All right. For our listeners, Christian is showing a picture. Terry Pagula was at the hiring of Ralph Kruger. God, that is a cursed photo. I never want to see that again.
Yeah, please delete
Jason
that.
Bottrell's in it too.
That is such a cursed photo. Man, So yeah,
That
there you go.
was
It's been 5 years.
I was gonna say 5 years.
Look at that smile. That damn smile.
That's
So
what got
evil.
Terry.
So evil. Man, I am not I am you know, I enjoyed this break from the podcast.
Yeah,
It was only like a week and a half, but man, like if honestly, if last night was just like another mundane game, I don't know if I would have had the juice to record tonight. I think it was just because it was so bad.
could have been. Yeah.
And I guess the very last thing before we get off, keeping the conversation centered around Granado, you're starting to see people turn on him. And not just fans, like the big one, the media. When the media shifts,
Hmm.
that's when it becomes, you know, that's kind of the downward spiral you had.
Mm-hmm.
Harrington calling for his firing in his post-game column, and Paul Hamilton on the radio was going after him on the post-game show. So, and then you saw tonight on TSN's Insider Trading. You know, it was a topic of discussion. You know, Chris Johnston was talking about it, and tomorrow it's going to be interesting to see this. You know, this could be outdated quickly, or maybe it turns out to be true. Tomorrow's a new episode of 32 Thoughts. So I would be very interested to see if Friedman and Merrick have some stuff to say about Granado. But we shall see.
I don't know, man. I hope with each passing year, I have less and less faith that they won't wait until it's absolutely necessary to make a move.
That's the
And
common theme.
it breeds a losing culture because when it takes so long, it gets to a point where you have to lose so much that they're finally like, okay, this is a little out of hand. Maybe we just need to let him go. When other teams are like the Kings, like halfway through the season, they were just like they went on a skid. You know,
Even
they
the
lost.
Devils had
Yeah,
enough.
they there was that was it. And Ruff had a fantastic year with them last year, and they just came out flat, and that was it. They were like, we're not tolerating losing. We're done. We need to get it. We need to
And
get another guy in
and
here.
and he had just signed an extension. So
It's
there's that.
they need to learn. They need to learn because this is getting absolutely ridiculous. And if one day they throw their hands up and say, "Why aren't there fans here?" Check the record. Check
Oh
all
man.
these podcasts. Check everything.
I can only imagine like if Pagula does. Yeah, I guess I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he addressed the media after this season. Maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he like throws an offhand comment at the fans. I don't know. I could just see it
Whatever,
happening.
Terry.
That'll
You
go over
want to
well.
you don't want to go to war with I've said this before, you don't want to go to war with this fan base.
Yeah, you already got people turning on Alex Tuck, which is awesome.
Hmm.
So, I think that's enough. That's actually a lot longer than I thought we'd go.
Well, we didn't talk about the Sabres the whole time.
All right, folks. I think for anybody that listened, thank you. Honestly, thank you for listening throughout this season. This isn't the last. Like this is the last podcast of the season. What they got 9 games left, so probably have 2 more podcasts in
Mhm.
that time, at least one. Then obviously the off-season content will start. So, well, we thank you. We thank you for listening. We picked up a lot of new viewers this year, or a lot of new listeners. We really appreciate it. We appreciate, it's very reminiscent of our first season when we created this account and everything thereafter. It's been a miserable time to try and pick up some growth, but we've made it a decent way, and we appreciate all the support.
It's not always easy to, you know, be a part of Sabres Twitter, make these podcasts when our team is just disappointing us endlessly. But we do it because of you guys, so we appreciate it.
When we're finally back on top, we'll remember the OGs of this podcast. We know the few hundred listeners out there that were the first here. All right, we're gonna gatekeep this.
So yeah, don't tell your friends about this
Yeah,
podcast. We
don't
don't
tell
want
anyone.
anybody listening. But yeah, thank you everybody for listening. If you want to follow us on Twitter, follow us at the Sabre Report. Follow us on Instagram at the Sabre Report. Follow us on TikTok. Subscribe to us on YouTube. If you want updates for the pod, go follow us at Sabre Report Pod. Go give our friends over at the Buffalo Sports Talk podcast a listen. They just released a behemoth of an episode, off-season
They've been
episode for the
cooking.
Bills.
They've been cooking.
So there's first. So I mean, I know there's not no crossover or anything, but if just for fun, if you want to go over, give them a listen. It's good stuff, good content. They're revving up for the draft pretty soon. Should be fun. And in our case, not so fun. But looking ahead, man, what they got the home and home this weekend. Maybe we talk to you Sunday. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see how those two games go. I wouldn't be
Shoot
surprised.
us a DM if you're wondering.
I want to be.
Sunday's Easter.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, definitely not going to record on Sunday.
Next week sometime.
Yeah, our schedule might get pretty erratic here, so stick with us. We know you will because that's the type of fans that you are. But if you guys got nothing else to say, I think that's going to wrap up this episode. So, thank you guys for listening. Take care. Feel free to leave a review. And fight through it. Go Sabres.
Go Sabres.
We'll get there one day. Go Sabres.